Hello, everyone. Today we are here with three young Irish gentlemen, and we are going to welcome them on behalf of Friend in Need India Trust in the village of Kameswaram. So let us discover what they are coming for and who they are. Let's start with who they are. So please introduce yourselves. What are your names? How old are you? Who are you?
Hi guys, my name is Oisin Hills, and I'm 23 years old, and I'm from Dublin in Ireland, and I've just finished studying product design in Technological University Dublin, and I'm currently working in a factory in Dublin, but very excited to go over to India and implement our new product, the project SoilCycle.
Hi guys, my name is Jack. I'm also from Dublin, and I have also completed a course in product design in Dublin in TUD Dublin. Uh, I'm currently working as a surveyor, but also very excited to go over to India to implement our product.
And I'm Mark. Hello. I am also a graduate of product design from Technological University Dublin. And I'm really enjoying the process of working on this soil cycle over summer and doing our testing. And excited to come and see you in September.
Okay, so TU Dublin is Technological University of Dublin.
Yeah.
And you're all design program students, or all of you are from design?
Yeah, we're all product design students.
Product
Exactly.
design students.
And
Okay,
that course is like very much a big mix. It's got engineering, it's got design modules, and also business modules. So it covers a lot of the ground of taking a product from just an idea all the way through to development.
okay, that's very interesting. So, you came to us through the Engineers Without Borders competition. Now, what is this competition all about, firstly?
This competition is a competition run for students in from different colleges across Ireland, where they're encouraged to design novel, creative designs for real world issues across the world. And in our year, we were encouraged to design for the town of Kameswaram. We weren't given anything in particular to design for. We were told to find a problem in the village and design a impactful real world solution to that. It's kind of as engineers without borders, and as we see it, it was like a great opportunity for us to hone our design skills in a real world setting, but also to hopefully be able to help the people of Kameshwaram with an issue that they have. And it might be nice, and I think we have a very unique approach because we're coming from this from the outside. So maybe we'll be able to think of challenges differently to people who are maybe facing these challenges and don't understand that they even have a challenge. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. That brings me to another question, but I'll come to that later. First of all, why did you guys decide to join in the competition? I mean, is it mandatory for all students to participate, or is it voluntary?
Yeah, it's part of a module designed for sustainability and ethical design.
Okay.
And yeah, so you do a project for that module, and that's the brief for that module is the Engineers Without Borders competition. So you do enter it.
Okay.
You do have a choice to go beyond. So you do a presentation for the panel at the end of the module. You can refuse or accept, to progress on to the actual competition, but it is included in the module.
Okay. Are you graded on your presentation?
Yeah.
You are graded.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
are graded on your idea and what you do and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a decorative course. It's a real credit course.
Yeah.
And this is a credit-worthy assignment.
Yeah.
That is very interesting because in many universities, this is not the case. So, Then two questions. First of all, how did you guys get together to form a team?
Well, initially, like before the module even started, this was in our final year in product design. So we had already become good friends before. And for the module, we were asked to join a group or pick a team to start working together. And we thought that we would work together as well, as we already knew we got along quite well. So we chose each other, and I think we all had a similar interest in making things and the practical side of product design. So the so that like initially brought us together for this project, and then we've like during the course of the development stage, research stage, we'd meet up consistently. Our Friday meetings were really fun and really productive. So kind of straight from the get-go, we had already found a good spot in this module and at the start of the competition. So yeah, that's initially how we started. Yeah,
I think
You're all... Sorry.
I think when Oisin approached me, just would you like to be in the team together? The sort of motivation was really to do well and to try and win the competition, to get experience. So I think if I hadn't have shown that enthusiasm, we might not have joined up. But really the premise for it was to really try and win it and to do well, because we all sort of valued the prize and the experience equally. And we saw the opportunity as kind of like, it would be a real shame to miss out on this. I mean, like, we'd have to do our best, and you can't assume you're going to win, but I think we were one of the few teams who actually really tried to win,
Okay. That's very interesting, because it's the same dynamic in a startup. Unless you really want to, you don't make it happen. But there's also another thing. Familiarity breeds contempt. How did you manage to stay friends throughout the process? Was there any time where you sort of, got on each other's nerves, or how did you get over it?
I would say personally, this is the least contentious group I've ever been in.
Okay.
I really feel like we're all respectful to each other with, like, if we're having difficulty, let's say we're going to be late for something or we're not progressing, I don't know, we help each other. And I think we really understand how we work together. I haven't had any
So what do you think is the key to staying friends while working intensely together?
I would say, like, not to sound cringe or anything, but like the fact that like we listen to one another and try to understand one another, just not just in the moment, but beyond that, like understanding that, for example, at the moment we're doing field testing, but it's near Jack's house, but Mark often has to get through traffic to get there. Like, to understand that Mark is making a sacrifice in his life to come over here every Saturday. Like, even that's just one example of just like taking a moment to understand that the other teammates are doing this with the same goal as helping the project. Like, that's never in doubt. The kind of putting the project at the center of all that we do. I think to understand that we have a unique goal and we're all aligned, that makes it so much easier. And then just the fact that we know one another, trust one another, and are just get along together, it actually makes it a joy. So I think that's probably having it like our goals all aligned is probably the kind of that magic that keeps us all together.
So I see at least 3 points here. Respect, understanding, and finally having fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important. I think if it's a bore or a drag, it's more difficult.
We've done a lot of projects throughout university and team projects specifically. And if you're not in love with the project, you have to enjoy the team at least.
Yes.
If the team isn't really motivated together, the project suffers. So usually if the project's going well, I think the team, it's as a result of the good dynamic, usually. I think they're related, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Good answers. So then now we come to your idea. First, tell me you know, how did you find your challenge? What is your idea? How did you get it? What's this all about?
Well, like to start off, just a brief explanation of what it is. So we've developed a hot composting drum to implement with the ecosan toilets that are in the town of Kameswaram. And basically, it's in short to speed up the process of turning the human waste to fertilizer, which and then also making it easier to access from underneath the ecosan toilet.
Okay, just let me just introduce. I got this. Can I introduce some background info to our listeners?
Of course. Yeah.
So, FinTrust specializes in the installation of ecosan toilets. These are toilets where the urine and the feces are separated, and the feces is converted into compost. Right now, it takes between 6 months to 9 months, and this team's objective has been to ease this project and speed it up, right?
Yep.
Through a new way of processing the feces in the compost chamber.
Exactly. Yeah. Speed it up and make it more accessible to the people that work on it. So yeah, so that's the project, and how we came about the problem. Oisin had spoken with one of our lecturers who has been to Kameswaram and worked closely with Engineers Without. He's on the board of Engineers Without Borders Ireland, and he gave us insight to this accessibility problem that they were having, and also containing the human waste in the pit in the ecosan toilet. So there was loads of different issues, problems that could be solved. Multiple different groups in our module that were working on water sanitation and utilizing seaweed, things like that. But we found this as something like a value for the people in Kameswaram, and it just exceeded all the other problems. So we went forward with one of the global sustainability goals of waste management.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what led us to that area, and going into that. Yeah.
I'll just explain the problem one more sentence. You see, one of the problems with the ecosan toilets is that once it's made into compost, you have to shovel it out. You have to shovel it out, and many people are uncomfortable to do that. I think you also tackled this issue of discomfort in addition to speeding up the composting time, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that was that was one of the first things we were trying to address was just the difficulty or the how uncomfortable it was to empty the ecosan toilets. And so our design has a ski design, so simple, being able to pull the collected fertilizer out from underneath the composting toilet when it's ready to be composted. We're also developing, Mark will probably talk about this a little bit more, but a monitor so that people don't have to check do the uncomfortable job of checking the soil cycle to make sure it's finished. Again, making it much easier and more of a I wouldn't say enjoyable but bearable task, shall we say. And hopefully that'll encourage people to engage with ecosan toilets more, and think of it quite positively. So yeah, that's our idea, and that's the value. Those are the main values I think we add through our project.
Can you tell me a little bit more about this monitor? What does it monitor and what does it do?
Yeah, so it's basically it's a depending on how many soil cycles you have, it's a system of monitors that measure your temperature, and so the most important data point making compost is your temperature, how long it's at certain temperatures. So that's how you'll know what stage of composting it's in. And basically, it can fluctuate throughout the day. And so, because of the way the ecosan toilets are, you don't want to be in and out of this pit. So a passive or a remote monitor will allow you to check on your phone with the temperature of whichever SoilCycle you wish to check. You could have 5 and you can check SoilCycle 1 through 5. And basically it just keeps you updated without getting in to the SoilCycle on your temperatures.
So what happens when the temperature gets to a certain point, it's ready to be taken out? How does it work?
What happens is it will heat up, stay at a hot temperature for a certain amount of time. This is where the pathogens die. Then, when that happens, it starts to cool down. And it's basically, think of it as like fermenting. It's kind of baking at this low temperature. It's becoming ready. So it just needs to stay at these temperatures for a long enough time for the full breakdown. So you kill the harmful bacteria at the high temperature, and then you introduce, just through the process, the healthy bacteria that processes the feces into compost survives at this other temperature. They have names. They're like thermophilic, mesophilic, yeah. And then you have the curing phase, which is when your temperatures have calmed down. They kind of stay at an ambient temperature, and that's the curing phase.
Okay.
You just want to keep it there until it's ready.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
So temperature is so important, and you don't want to be in and out of, before it's compost, it's a pile of feces. So you don't want to be in and out of that couple of times a week, you know?
Yeah.
Hello, I am Abhishek Pathak, Junior Manager, Friend in Need India Trust. I hope you all are enjoying this video. And before we go any further in this video, you probably want to see team soil structure. So let's go to Ireland and see what they have done and return back to this podcast again.
To use the SoilCycle, the user collects uncooked fruit and vegetable scraps that would otherwise go to waste. These nitrogen-rich green materials should be cut into small pieces to speed up decomposition. The user opens the SoilCycle using the ratchet straps and then adds the green waste. This is followed by brown, carbon-rich materials such as dried leaves, cardboard or straw. A ratio of 1 part green waste to 2 to 3 parts of brown waste should be maintained. Once filled, the lid is closed and secured with the ratchet straps. The user then rotates the SoilCycle at least 5 times to mix the contents. PVC fins inside help to combine the materials evenly. Thermometers can be used to monitor the temperature and determine when the fertilizer is ready for use. The second use case is for ecosan toilets, where the SoilCycle sits beneath the toilet to collect human waste until full. The SoilCycle is then slid out on its sled and sealed securely with the lid. The contents are mixed by rotating the unit, which increases temperature, kills harmful pathogens, and speeds up the conversion into fertilizer, while ensuring a more uniform breakdown of the waste.
So I see some cans no, we would have shown this on the video. I don't say this thing about the cat. Sorry, Abhishek, still cut. Okay, I come back and I say, okay, so how did you get the idea to use these cans, these big petrol cans? How did you get that idea? And to put it on a sled, how did you get the idea? I got what you're doing, but how did you get the idea to do this? What was the thought process?
I think when we were conceptualizing, because it was a retrofit for the ecosan toilets, all of our concepts, well, not all of them, but majority of the concepts had the ecosan chamber as just like
Constraint.
it's constrained, exactly. Yeah, so we would basically kind of design in there with our concept. So once we realized we needed a chamber or like a vessel to hold it, I mean, cylinder was sort of the optimal shape for, because when you rotate it, it doesn't take up any other space. Like initially we had thought to rotate it in the pit. So if you're rotating a square, it's going to get taller halfway through. So we can actually get a bigger barrel or a bigger cylinder in there, and with the intention of spinning it. So then, because it was like frugal design, we had to look at found materials. And I can't actually remember, maybe someone in the group can, how we got to oil barrels. But we realized they were abundant and sort of because plastic would deform under the heat. Yeah, maybe someone else wants to take over if they can remember how we got to barrels.
I think we. Sorry.
So, and the sled, both.
Yeah, the sled design was a little bit more like that one was a bit more, took a little longer, I think, for us to come up with. But the constraint, as Mark said, the constraint to the size of the SoilCycle, or sorry, size of the ecosan pit informed the choice of the barrel. Mark, actually also don't remember. I think it was just through conceptualization and looking at what is available around the world. That was kind of how we chose the oil drums. Like, we need to use materials that are available in India, and that are also low cost. But then when it comes to the sleds or the skis at the bottom, we'd spoken to Liam McCartan, who's one of the directors of Engineers Without Borders, as Jack mentioned earlier, and he'd talked about this access problem being an issue, and the weight of the waste, and also plastic boxes not being a good solution because of the moisture content being trapped inside, and the process not being fully able to do that without getting air into the fertilizer. So we were constrained by the fact that we couldn't use complex mechanisms. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say, is we couldn't use complex mechanisms because of the climate in Tamil Nadu, and the ocean. Its proximity to the ocean meant that metal parts and complex mechanisms would rust and break in the harsh environments. So we wanted to make it as simple as possible. And we found our solution to that was just simple low friction skis to be able to drag the SoilCycle in and out of the pit. So that was our solution to that problem.
Okay. I got it. And actually, I heard that you're coming to India to try it out in Kameswaram. Now, how did you manage that?
Well, initially for the competition, the prize would be to implement the product in Kameswaram, and we won the competition last year, which would mean that to go to India in 2025, but because of budget issues around the world, we weren't able to get the funding for us through Engineers Without Borders Ireland. So we kind of put it upon ourselves to maybe continue this product. If we could continue this project, would you still be willing and raise the money ourselves? Would you still be willing to bring us over there to implement it? And we got in touch with one of our lecturers at TU Dublin, the product design lecturer, who is on the board of a competition called Bolton Trust. And there's a certain amount of funding for this competition and prize fund. And he said he could get some funding for us to go over the following year. So that's why we've continued to test our product and get the funding for it through that. So
Congratulations, congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Thank you.
this is really a very big achievement to have got such a grant to come over. So hats off, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the thing is, so you're going to bring all this to Kameswaram. What is your idea? Because, you know, these ideas, many ideas of students, they are very nice, but the major problem in frugal innovations, eco innovations, frugal innovations, is their adoption. Okay, so do you think, what do you think about its adoptability? Do you think people, I mean, just, I know you don't know the people, but what do you think? What's your scenario? What's your expectation?
We think because we had put so much importance on added value, and we understand the village isn't a wealthy village, we think that providing a resource that is expensive is a good incentive to adopt this system. Also, it makes a system that's already in place more palatable to use. So I think if the value in fertilizer is already there, surely making it, this is what we envisage, like surely making an expensive product cheaper and more accessible is appealing enough to want to use. And we think we've used our design skills enough. Or we can update, of course, but that we've made the usability appealing as well. And the current testing now, we're not just focused on making compost successfully, we're also looking at the design and the usability as we use it. So we're trying to make it as appealing as possible to use. It's an unpleasant thing to have to work with. So I think if there's already a system in place, making it more appealing and better, and then obviously cost saving in the end is a good incentive to adopt it.
So you are very optimistic because of the value added.
Yeah.
So I wish you luck. I just want to say I will help it. I will help it to the maximum extent possible. And we are already one of the few villages where the Engineers Without Borders, the TU Dublin's last year's winner or some years back winner, it's actually being implemented. It had to be redesigned, okay, because he came up with the idea, but and you will see it. You will see the innovation. So I am very happy to have yet another innovation. Okay, might need to be redesigned, but it will be wonderful to have this innovation again. Now, the thing is this the only use for this contraption, which is essentially a composter? Is there any other use for it? Can it be used for composting other things? Yes, I'm saying it. I'm saying it's set in a garden, so I'm just wondering what is this all about? You are having an ecosan in Ireland to test it out. So
Yeah, well, as Jack just kindly moved out the way there, you may be able to see, and thank you, Mark, as well. You may be able to see some of our even lower tech prototypes being used in a community garden there in a village or an area of Dublin called Crumlin, and they have a community garden there, which is where people from the community come together to work on a beautiful garden space, a kind of oasis in the city, and we're testing our project there with food waste. So fruit and veg that maybe would be left over from scraps from dinner or from a vegetable market, for example, can be put in there with a mixture of brown waste, straw, or like dead leaves, dead flowers, dried flowers, the likes of that, mixed in at a 2-to-1 ratio, and that's also can turn that into fertilizer, not just the human waste on the ecosan front. So that's what we're actually testing there in the community garden at the moment. So it's kind of got multiple uses, shall we say, and hopefully would encourage people to engage with good waste management and see like a value at the end of having good quality fertilizer.
Who is running this and what are the first results like in the community garden? Is anybody making sure that the waste is being put in the proper ratio?
Yeah, so I mean, so as you can see, there's 5 SoilCycles there, and so we are testing different ratios, and amounts of time you turn it during the week. So ratios, as Oisin said, the amount of organic waste that goes in to the amount of brown waste, which is cardboard, straw, dead leaves. So the idea is to test with, actually we have 6 in there now, and we test different ratios, different turning rate at times, to see which is the optimal amount before we can implement it in Kameswaram. So I guess running the program, like it's us 3. We're taking turns going there, going to the garden every week. Engaging with the community in the garden is such a huge like added benefit to this project, which we're actually developing testing compost to see which is the best for Kameswaram, but also then implementing it in the garden that we're in. So they're all for it as well, which is a massive added value to this project, I think.
That's it.
And yeah, so that's like we're running it. And one of the things that they say in the garden is, if you have any project, they're open to any project for benefiting the garden. But if you have an idea, you run it yourself and make sure that everything is done yourself, and we'll help where is needed. Which I think is actually a great maybe motto to have for this project.
Yeah.
Is that even if we were to implement it in Kameswaram, have the same objective. We'll come here, we'll tell you how it's made, we'll make it, we'll show you how to implement it, and then they'll help with any problems that might have. So
I think even this can be implemented outside the ecosan toilet, because there is a lot of our center is set in the campus of a village, of a temple, and there's a wedding hall next. So this is going to be very exciting. So this is all very exciting. And that brings me to my last but one question. All this experience, has it affected you people in any way? I mean, what did you learn? Did you develop any new skills? Did it change your worldview? And lastly, did it change the way you're going to be, your actions? I mean, what you want to be? I mean, so I'm just curious. But be truthful, because it's okay. Whatever it is, tell us, because I'm interested.
Yeah, I guess I think we can all answer this question, which I think it would be, it's a really great question. And like, first of all, on the knowledge point, for me, it's been really interesting to work with in the real world and not just kind of bring an idea to concept and then be like, oh, well, it wouldn't have worked here and here, but it was a nice idea. Pop that on the portfolio and off we go. This one it's been challenging and frustrating more than maybe any other project, because we actually have to implement it and there's no cutting corners. We want this to actually make a difference. So we've learned so much more about the product design process from that. So that's the knowledge part, is understanding how a project actually happens versus in concept. And I think we have Finn, Engineers Without Borders, and TUD to thank for that. When it comes to our skills, I mean, we've done things like welding for the first time. We've been cutting metal. We've been learning so much about compost. We've been improving our design skills, kind of back to that knowledge front. And then in terms of attitude, it's helped us to be empathetic to try and think of India and the people in the village and how they'd use it, um, along with language barriers and different cultural norms and the like. So definitely, it's helped us to empathize with other people, and it's also just meet new people. It's been lovely to meet you, Shyama, and everyone from Engineers Without Borders, and it's definitely like changed, like definitely made us better designers. The fact that every week we meet up, we work together towards this united goal, back to that, us all having that same goal. It's been really, really nice, just the project as a whole, and the idea of going to India, somewhere I've always wanted to go, to do something that hopefully will make an impact, is just honestly really, really fulfilling.
That's wonderful. And what about each of you, Jack and Mark?
Yeah, I would
That's
say
wonderful.
I would second a lot of what Oisin said. Um, I would say in terms of my own growth or the way it's changed me, I kind of, through learning design, specifically product design, it's always with the goal to make something commercially viable. And personally, commercial viability doesn't really ignite a fire in my belly, because it's fun to design and it's nice to solve problems, but I get a real sort of, I've realized this through this project, I get a real satisfaction and passion from like a real problem, a real like issue that I can see, sort of giving back to society, even though it's a different society to mine. I mean, we're all part of the same planet. So I think actually doing something that I believe has meaning rather than trying to develop something profitable, I mean, financially profitable, of course, it's profitable to society to have a upgraded sanitation system in a community that needs it, but it really keeps me going. I could lose a lot of love for a project if it was difficult and I didn't believe in it, if it was sort of self-serving to like an ego trip to develop a project or a design appreciated by other designers, stuff like that. So I get a real it's sort of given me this like direction with my design that I really, I guess, is altruism the word, where you sort of, I want to give back to society with my skill set. So, and this project has just kind of reinforced those feelings.
I'm so glad you're not in Elon Musk's camp. That.
The money making.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess for myself, what I've benefited or benefit the most in terms of skills and stuff like that, it would be communication skills, and I know my title as communication and logistics officer just in our small little group has actually made a lot of sense, because I kind of got the communication with the garden, and being able to talk. I know Oisin talks a lot through the group chat and everything, but getting people involved with a project that is that we think will benefit some other place in the real world is something that I really value. I guess, and then the skills, as Oisin said, like welding for the first time, and just using also our product design thinking to iterate all the different, because we've had 3 different types of soil cycles that we've developed, and so many different prototypes. I think it's the most prototypes I've probably made on a project. So really delved into the actual product design, real world, as Oisin was saying, working with the user. I know it's online, but it's more than any other project that I've done so far in the course. And speaking with you, Shyama, it has just been great, learning so much new things. And my attitude towards it, probably just what I've said explains it, is just talking with people is what I really what I really value, and positive behavior towards the whole thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I found all your answers brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much. And it gives me hope for the world, especially the way the world is now. I know there are good guys in it. So this gives hope. This gives a lot of hope. Um, so what can we do for you? What more can we do for you?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for it was a great question, and it's nice. We don't usually get to sit back and think about like the process necessarily because we're so focused on what's the next, what we do next. We don't get time to contemplate what we've actually achieved, which is really nice for you to ask us questions like that. Um, in terms of what we'd love we'd love people to watch the videos explaining how the process works, um and give their honest feedback that they don't pull punches, that they tell us, I think this would work in this situation, or I think you'd need to redesign this, or this doesn't look safe, or we'd love to know all your thoughts on our idea, so that we can better design it and change it, and find new potential for it
Yeah.
in Kameswaram, because we're really enjoying designing and overcoming all these challenges, but it's really hard from a distance, you know?
Yeah.
And like we don't want to get to Kameshwaram and realize this just won't be right. And I know you said that I know for a fact there's going to be changes that have been done when we're there, and hopefully afterwards, if people like to engage with it. But we'd really love some critical feedback, some criticism on what people think of the design, and advice if they think that they have a really good idea that might benefit. Please don't be afraid to tell us that.
Okay. Okay.
I would also say, with your criticisms and advice, if you could contextualize it for us, so just include like, so if something won't work for like a societal reason or a behavioral reason, if you could give us insight into sort of your behaviors or how you think, because we're not close to Indian culture really at all. So that would really help us if you could add in some like societal context to. I understand engineering problems for what they are, but the cultural differences is probably where we struggled most trying to relate to a different culture and society.
This is very interesting. I put out your videos already to the engineering students. They're all willing to welcome you. So far, I haven't received any critical feedback. They say it is because this program is very unique because you have done these things with your hands. Most of the engineering schools stop with design on computer. So I'm going to try other stakeholders, and I'm going to try the stakeholders at the bottom of the skill pyramid, basically the welders and all that. And I am going to invite them to a meeting in our Fin office, do a Zoom like this, and ask them for critical feedback. It'll be long and arduous because I'll have to translate, but that would be interesting. Would you like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then thank you again very much for giving us the time and your thoughts. It's been very enjoyable.
Thank you. It really has. It's
Yeah.
really, really enjoyable. Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you in India.
Yes,
Absolutely.
can't wait.
Roll on September.
Yes.